Hello and welcome to the IOSH Initial Professional Development or IPD presentation. My name is Matthew and I'll be taking you through the presentation today. We'll be looking at the IPD assessments individually, the CPD review and the peer review interview. The purpose of this video is to advise members what to expect from the IPD process. So let's take a look at reasons why to become a chartered member of IOSH. So first of all, IOSH is the chartered body for health and safety professionals, and this is how you can benefit. So first of all, it increases credibility within your organisation or company. It will give you more recognition and the organisation more recognition as there is a chartered member of IOSH attached to it. It will improve your ability to influence decision makers, as people understand that if somebody is a chartered member of an organisation, that they really are at the top of their game. It will enable you to work on an equal footing with other professionals. Again, it's that recognition that people understand. It will increase your future employability as well. It really will open new doors to you as a safety professional, as there are some organisations that will only offer job interviews to people who have that chartered body next to their name, that CMIOSH next to their name, as people understand what somebody has gone through to achieve chartered membership with IOSH. So what is IPD? Well, first of all, IPD stands for Initial Professional Development, and it is an assessment process that all certified members need to go through in order to become a chartered member of IOSH. The aim for the IPD is for you to demonstrate your competence, your knowledge, skills, and experience in occupational health and safety. And the way this is carried out is by using two different assessment processes based on your background that you've already achieved through your qualifications in occupational health and safety. The first one that we'll take a look at is the Electronic Skills Development Portfolio, or SDP as we refer to it as. And this is a practical-based assessment process, very similar to that of an NVQ or SVQ. The other assessment is the Electronic Open Assessment Exam, or simply Open Assessment, which is a theory-based assessment process. This takes a more, as it states in the title, really, an exam style of assessment for the individual. We'll take a look at each of the assessments individually, and we'll start off with the Skills Development Portfolio. So the Skills Development Portfolio route, or Route 1, as it's referred to, follows the 4 stages you see in front of you there. And that will involve completing the Skills Development Portfolio, of course. Then there is a CPD review, or review of the CPD, a peer review interview, and then finally your charter membership is awarded. But what's involved in the Skills Development Portfolio? So it's an evidence-based assessment process. As I mentioned previously, for those of you familiar with the NVQ format, this is very similar, or SVQ as I say. It is produced online via the My IOSH and My IPD portal. You are asked to choose 7 criteria from 5 elements that we have. There is a background image there of the elements. We are, of course, able to send that out to you upon request. So you can take a look at the elements a little closer and you'll be able to make your decision as to which criteria you'll be selecting. The evidence that you upload is electronically or remote, so you're uploading online. And that evidence can be no older than 2 years. It is very important that the evidence is not older than 2 years. If the evidence you submit goes over the 2-year time frame, your assessor will not accept it and it will be sent back to you for review. You will also be asked to select a different example as I say, that evidence cannot be used in any circumstances if it is older than 2 years. It takes 2 to 3 weeks for a criterion to be assessed by your assessor. I always advise individuals to submit your criterions one at a time. Please bear in mind this is going to an assessor, and we are not using any kind of artificial intelligence to review the information. It goes to an assessor, and they have to take their time to read through what you have submitted and assess. So if you submit something, or if you submit various criteria at the same time, this can slow down the process and slow down the assessor. Also, if you submit an incorrect criterion, there is a chance that you've made the same incorrection repeatedly, and therefore you'd have to start again. So if you submitted all 7 at the same time, not only are you slowing down the assessor, but you're also maybe going to make the same mistake over and over, and therefore there could be an issue, and that will slow you down greatly. That's something we don't want to happen. Now let's take a look at the open assessment route, also known as route 2. So for this particular route, you'll be asked to do, as I stated, the open assessment. A CPD review, again, is required. And of course, the peer review interview. Upon these stages that have been completed, you'll be transferred to charter membership. So what do we look at for the open assessment? So first of all, the open assessment is open for 14 days for each month that it is arranged. So there's a 14-day window with which you have to complete the assessment. Once you start the assessment, you then have 7 days with which to complete it. So it's a 14-day window, but 7 days to complete when you have started the assessment. The assessment is in 2 parts, Part A and Part B. Part A is 48 multiple choice answer questions, and there is a 3-hour time limit for Part A. You will see that when you start Part A, there is a clock at the top of your screen, and it will count down to tell you how much time you have left with regards to the exam. Upon completion of Part A, provided you have been successful, of course, you will then move on to Part B. And Part B is 2 scenario-based questions with a 700-word limit per question. And you will have the 7 days that you have left, you have 7 days to complete Part B. If I could give some advice, when it comes to Part B, please use all 7 days. If you feel that you have finished within the first couple of days and you're happy with your answer, that is fine, but I would still suggest to review your answers just to be absolutely certain before submitting. There is no bonus points for completing early, so please use the 7 days that you have allocated to you. The results for Part A, as I mentioned previously, are instant, so you are told right away if you have been successful with Part A. Part B does take 21 days for us to review that, so that goes to your assessor. The assessor marks the open assessment and then sends it to IOSH for verification. We will verify what the assessor has reviewed, and then it will be sent across to yourself to advise you of the outcome for your open assessment. Once you have completed your allocated assessment, the next stage is to review your CPD. So this will happen in the way that you'll be contacted by the IOSH admin team to advise that your assessment has been completed and that you have been successful. You will also then be advised to make sure your CPD is up to date and to contact the CPD team when you are ready for it to be reviewed. The review takes place to ensure there is a full understanding of the CPD process that we have in place, and it also gives the CPD team the opportunity to contact you if there are any misunderstandings or shortfalls on the CPD, just to make sure, as I say, that there is a full understanding of what is required through the blueprint system and the CPD itself. The CPD team will be looking to just make sure that the blueprint self-assessment has been completed. They'll be checking to see that personal development areas have been selected, and that is what will take place. That if both of those areas have been successfully identified, then your CPD review will be identified as a pass. Okay, we now move to the final stage of the IPD process, and that is the peer review interview, or as we refer to it, the PRI. So as I say, this is the final stage to becoming a chartered member of IOSH. All peer review interviews will take place via Zoom, so through video conference. There is an £80 fee to arrange the peer review interview, And the peer review interview will last an hour. Sometimes it may trickle a minute or two over, sometimes a little bit under, but we aim for each interview to last an hour. The first 10 minutes of the peer review interview will be a 10-minute presentation conducted by yourself. The presentation will center around yourself, your background about health and safety, the achievements that you've had, the challenges that you faced, your current role, and the future plans that you have. So really, it's just a 10-minute presentation about yourself, and it gives you the opportunity to talk to the panel completely uninterrupted just about your background and what you plan to do within health and safety. So let's take a look at some hints, tips with regards to the peer review interview. So as mentioned, we already said that provide a presentation. So a presentation is provided by yourself, and we ask that you stick to the 10-minute time limit, please, as best as you can. If you do start to trickle over the 10-minute time limit, the person who is chairing the peer review may ask you to stop or to move to the last slide, depending on how things are getting on. Please familiarize yourself or cast your mind back to your IPD assessment, be it the portfolio or the open assessment. Think about what challenges you faced, what was difficult about the assessment. Did you have to do any kind of research? Was there anything that really stood out to you that you would take away from the assessment? These are the kind of things to focus on. Please ensure that you know the 4 key areas, or 4 pillars as we call them, of the IOSH Code of Conduct. And they are respect, integrity, service, and competence. I like to use the acronym of RISC, RISC. So once again, respect, integrity, service, and competence. Please be aware of the importance of your CPD. This may be referred to during the peer review interview about your CPD and plans that you have for your CPD in the future as well. A very, very key part of the peer review interview is to bear in mind this is your interview. The panel will not be talking to you about the success of your colleagues or organization. They want to hear about you. So please use I, not we. They want to know about the processes that you as an individual have followed or do follow. So please bear in mind they are interested in you and you alone. Core questions will not be made available leading up to the peer review interview. If somebody advises you they have the core questions, please do not take that as the truth, because we do not share them. We have various question sets, and so if anyone advises you they have the answers, move away. I would not advise you to take notice of that in the slightest. No notes are permitted during the peer review interview. You are welcome to make notes during the interview. You can have a blank piece of paper and a pen. If it helps you to make notes as you move through, if you're talking about various processes that you follow, and by writing them down, it helps you understand or recollect what you're trying to reach out to yourself, that's fine. But you cannot bring any notes into the peer review interview. So, interview day. So it's the day of your interview. What can you expect to take place? So first of all, a week before the interview, you will receive communication from the IOSH administrator who will be on the interview with you on that day. They will send you an email to remind you of various things you need to be aware of, but more importantly, it will include the Zoom link to your peer review interview. So please look out for that. If you haven't received your link the week before your interview, please get in touch with us. You will be interviewed by a panel of chartered members or chartered fellows, and these individuals are all volunteers. They're giving up their time to follow the interview process for you to help other health and safety professionals. And each one of these individuals has gone through the same process that you are about to go through, so they fully understand how difficult or how nerve-wracking and how stressful it may feel at the time. The interview, as I mentioned previously, lasts up to 60 minutes. Well, I put on there 45 to 60 minutes, sometimes a little bit shorter. And as I said before, it can trickle over. It just depends on how the interview is moving forward. We do ask that you join the interview 15 minutes before the start time that's allocated to you. This is just to ensure there are no technical issues or connection problems. And if there are, it gives us plenty of time to sort them out and make sure that you are as comfortable as can be. And also, if the panel are already ready and you are ready, why not start early? The outcome of the peer review interview will be shared with you within 21 working days of the interview, and that will be via email, and it will come, of course, from IOSH admin team. If you haven't received your email advising you of the outcome, please check your junk mail. Keep an eye on your junk mail or your spam, or if it's to a work address, maybe the quarantines, any quarantined emails, please keep an eye out for it, because no matter what the outcome is, there will be attachments to that email. And sometimes that sends emails to quarantine. At least that's what I have found. And it can go to, as I say, junk or spam. If you are successful, you'll be transferred to charter membership. You don't have to make any requests to transfer. It is automatic. You'll be transferred to charter membership, and then you are more than welcome to use the poster model CM-IOSH. If you are unsuccessful, feedback will be provided to you, and an interview may be required. There are various outcomes as to what happens next with regards to the peer review interview and if someone has been unsuccessful. So we will advise you on the feedback of what you can expect and what needs to be done to get to charter membership. Now, how do you get started? So let's get moving with the IPD. How do you get started? So to register, please contact our customer service centre on the number there on the screen in front of you. So that's 0116 350 0800, or for our international members, 0044 116 350 0800. The cost to enrol on IPD is £160, and that will give you 2 years to complete the assessment allocated to you. The 2-year timeframe does not include the CPD review or peer review interview, so you don't have to complete them within that 2-year timeframe. The 2 years is all about the open assessment and the skills development portfolio, whichever has been allocated to you. Upon payment towards IOSH with regards to your IPD, within 24 hours, your IPD record will become activated. It can take up to 24 hours, but we do send plenty of documents to you to read. So during that 24-hour period, or however long it takes, it may be shorter than 24 hours, as I say, that is plenty of time for you to read the information that we send out to you. There's a lot of help that we send out. There's a fantastic FAQ page that we send as well. So please have a read through that. Have a read through the criteria, a read through the syllabus, depending on which assessment is allocated to you. Spend that time doing your research in. It will also be an advantage to you to consider the IOSH mentor platform as well, which can be located through IOSH.com. And you'll be able to allocate yourself to an IOSH mentor, someone who's been there and done that with the IPD process. And whilst you're waiting, as I say, to be actually allocated or signed up, so to speak, with the IPD, I would very much encourage you to consider the IOSH mentor scheme, as it's very useful, and people are there waiting to help you. So please do utilize that. So thank you for listening to this presentation today. I do hope it's been useful. Once again, to enroll on IPD, please contact our customer service centre. Their number at the bottom there, 0116 350 0800 or 0044 116 350 0800, or to query or request a callback, you can send an email to csc@iosh.com. Once again, thank you for listening.